San Francisco 49ers took on the Minnesota Vikings. 49ers got the W, but that's not the main takeaway, all right? What takeaways do I have? Concerns about potentially right tackle Mike McGlinchey. Is the injury worse than we thought? The running back room, you got Trey Sermon. What's going on with that? Ty Davis Price. Jordan Mason. A lot of people are really liking him. We're going to discuss him. Also, Diamador Lenore. He excelled in a certain spot, not outside corner. We're going to talk about all that and much, much more right here on the San Francisco 49ers Morning Show. You know what time it is, man. Let's go.
Intercepted. It is picked off by Renfro over midfield. He'll run it all the way into the end zone. Touchdown.
Crosstalk TV podcast. Peace.
Welcome to another episode of the San Francisco 49ers Morning Show. I'm your host, former NFL and AFL defensive back, Eric Crocker. And y'all know, man, we talking all things 49ers and what's going on with the team right now. Shout out to everybody in the chat right now. I see the flames going up. If you knew, you know what I'm saying? We put the flames in there. Let us know how we feeling. Everybody's doing good. And this is a real mental health check, all right? So that's what the flames are for. So don't think people just putting the flames in there for no reason. The flames are how we doing today. And I hope everybody's doing good. I woke up early, got a nice workout in, trained some college athletes, got that out the way. Took my daughter to school, first day of first grade. That's all exciting. But I really care, man. I really care about how y'all feel, man. So the flames coming in, I just want to know, you know what I'm saying? Cause we gotta get that checked out before we get into anything else. Me personally, I have never, and I've talked about it, I have never dealt with any type of mental like depression, like crazy anxiety, like anything like that. Like I don't know. I think I just handle stress extremely well. So I can't act like I know firsthand what that feels like, but I've seen it with my wife. Some of my friends where I start to notice like, man, this is a little different. And best thing is to be able to talk to somebody. So y'all already know, man, if you ever need anybody to talk to, I'm here. Shoot me a DM, Twitter, Instagram. I'll shoot you my number. We get on the phone, talk it out, whatever. I know with my wife, the situation she went through, talking to her about it, the best thing was having me to talk to and understand and just an ear. All right. So that's what that is, man. Make sure y'all mentals is straight. And I see a lot of the usuals in the chat, man. You already know what time it is. Y'all know what time it is. My gym, I ain't gonna lie, man. The gym looking good. My gym is looking good. They're in there right now. They're over there painting the office spaces and things like that. But field turf looks great. I put up the rigs over the weekend, so I got the rig. Man, I'm over here doing pull-ups, bench press. I did not attempt 315 this morning. I had a heavy lift day, so it was 3 to 5 reps. I hit 275 3 times. If I hit it 5, I was gonna be like, all right, let's go for 315. I only hit it 3 times, so I'm like, you know what? I'm by myself, no spotter. I'm cool off 315 today. But we're feeling good, feeling strong, feeling blessed, and excited to be able to come on here and talk some 49er football with y'all. All right, so let's get into it. And I don't want to start off on a bad note. San Francisco 49ers took on the Minnesota Vikings, and there are a ton of takeaways. So we might be here for a little minute today, y'all. And obviously I want to get y'all takes on all this. So of course the link will be going in the chat. But first, let's talk about some, I don't even know if it's bad news. And y'all can let me know, maybe am I overreacting? Am I tripping? All right, but Mike McGlinchey, something's not right here. And you hear Kyle Shanahan come out and McKivitz, we might have to get used to the thought of McKivitz being the right tackle. I don't know exactly for how long, but the Mike McGlinchey thing sounds like, I don't know if it's going to be where, oh, no, he's cool. He'll be there week 1. And I don't want to make too much of it, right? Because, there are a lot of people out there that they're going to throw these things around and like make a big deal out of it. And I don't want to, but it's scary, right? A guy that missed a lot of last season had an injury where basically the damn hamstring was torn off of the bone. All right, it's like, okay, how is he going to recover? There were some people that were like, man, 50% of people don't even come back from that. Well, he came back, and it seemed like everything was heading in the right direction. He's practicing. It's good. Then all of a sudden, he's sitting out. And then next thing you know, Kyle Shanahan talked about it, and he's like, hey, he definitely won't be playing in the third preseason game, and he's not even practicing at all this week. And I'm like, damn. It is just, when you have a guy that missed so much time and you already have like the injury concerns, and then it's like, man, he's not suiting up. He's not practicing all week. It's like, man, hopefully everything's good with him. And I didn't, listen in to know exactly what it is that Mike McGlinchey's going through, but that would be a huge blow, because if you don't have Mike McGlinchey, and again, I don't want to be a panic bear. I don't really panic, man. Then my thing is, man, you got to pivot, right? So when something doesn't go right, you just got to pivot. You got to figure it out. So if you're the 49ers offensive line, if the issues with Mike McGlinchey, if it's a real thing, then you just got to pivot. All right, McKivitz, next man up. You got to figure it out, right? Hopefully it's not too bad. But they're going to have to pivot, and we're talking about potentially 4 new starters on the offensive line. Again, I'm not a panic bear. You ask my wife, she'll tell you, Eric never panics. I never panic. Figure it out. That's a lot. That is a lot to overcome. We're talking about 4 new starters. Left guard, Aaron Banks. First time really getting any extended playing time, and we're going to talk about Aaron Banks as well. Center, new center. Right guard, rookie. Right tackle, McKivitz. Again, I don't want to panic, but that's not ideal. It's not ideal to have that many new starters. All right. Dreadhead David, shout out to my guy Dreadhead David. Croc, much love, fam. Bang Bang Niner gang. Man, you feel me? I'm gonna leave that up here too. But the McGlinchey thing, that can be a potential blow. And you at least want some sort of, you got Trey Lance, right? First year starter. And the crazy thing is, I don't even have any Trey Lance notes in here. So this might be the only time I even bring Trey Lance up. And it's just about protecting Trey Lance. But you want him to have, at least like a solid foundation in front of him. And when you, at the very least, know, I know we're good at tackle, right? I know you got Trent Williams and Mike McGlinchey. We're solid. That's a solid offensive line. And Mike McGlinchey, I don't think he's been mentioned. I mean, not McGlinchey, excuse me. Trent Williams, I don't think he's been mentioned in the top 100 yet. I think they've gotten through all, like, the first, 21 through 100. So he's going to be a top 20 player, which he is. Nick Bosa, I'm going to circle back to the offensive line. 25th overall player in the NFL? That's what they were voted on? Bosa? 25th? Well, they're tripping. And I don't want to be a homer or anything like that, but Nick Bosa, he's better than 25th. Like, he's a top 10 player in this league. Top 15 for sure. All right, but anyways, the offensive line. I am concerned in the sense of my confidence in it. Again, no panic. You figure it out. You figure out the best guys for the job, and you got to roll with that, because what else are you going to do? And you want to see those guys build that cohesiveness throughout the season. Maybe by week 8, everything is clicking, and all right, let's keep it going. But 4 new starters on the offensive line, that's not. You lost Laken Tomlinson already. And at first, when you lost Laken Tomlinson, it was just like, at least in my opinion, it's like, okay, you got to find a starter at that spot. But, everybody else is gonna be cool. And I don't know, man. You talking about replacing 4 guys? Am I tripping, y'all? Am I thinking too much about it? But to me, that just doesn't seem, it doesn't seem ideal. 4 guys, having to replace 4 guys. That's tough. And we got to remember, like, there's a bad offensive line play around the NFL. So it's not like the 49ers are kind of dealing with this and this is an issue or whatever. Like, they're not the only ones. But even then, you just want some type of continuity with the offensive line, and you have none. You have none. That's tough. No continuity. And then it's not even, again, I don't want to come off as that person just crying and being a negative Nancy or anything like that. But then you got the young guys, like, they ain't even played. Look. Who is the center? Gosh, Brendel? Jake Brendel? Like, who is Jake Brendel? Who is he? Like, that's your center. Aaron Banks, we still don't know. Okay, let's talk about Aaron Banks. Talking to my guy Peacock last night, Locked On 49ers. Make sure if y'all haven't already, Locked On 49ers, we come at you 5 days a week. All right, we talked about this. And Peacock, which I have not paid attention to this. So I don't, this is not my thinking, this is just his. But I just was like, man, he said, if your goal was to take the best 11 players on offense and, plug them into their starting spots, he believes that Jason Poe is better right now than Aaron Banks. Right? And, we're watching Aaron Banks, and I've seen Aaron Banks like he's done well. I have not paid it. I've paid more attention than Burford. I think he's been really good. All right. I've paid more attention to Burford, but he's saying Aaron Banks and Poe. I haven't even watched. I've seen kind of Poe a little bit, but I don't know. There's so much going on when you're watching the preseason games. And then you got to watch it back to really focus on things that you missed. And I haven't watched back the preseason game just yet. But he says Poe is better than Aaron Banks. Now, we have to take some things into context. Who are they going up against? Is Aaron Banks, who's going with the first group offensive line for the 49ers, going up against a better defensive line? Typically so far right now, I'd say the Vikings and between the Vikings and the Packers, I don't think they're playing their legit starters. So it's not like either one of those guys are going up against the real starters or whatever. But whoever they're going against, to my guy Brian Peacock, he believes that Poe has looked better than Aaron Banks. And his crazy thing is he's Croc, he hasn't lost any reps. He's not losing. He just does his job. He's he's strong, he's this. And I'm like, dang, it feels a little weird because you're talking about a guy who's only 6 feet tall. And anybody knows, for interior office, for just offensive linemen in general, 6 foot is short. I think there's another short offensive lineman in the league, Mason. What's his name? Mason. He's an interior offensive lineman. Tampa Bay. Who's he play for? I think Tampa. There's a short guy. And people are like, oh, yeah, well, that's the other short guy, and he's comparable. And that guy is closer to 6'2", where Poe is closer to 6 foot. He's closer to 5'11". You know what I'm saying? So, that's extremely short. And I'm like, man, has there ever been an offensive lineman just that short? Just in the league where it's just you're extremely short and you're still really good. Well, Poe has an opportunity to be the best of that kind of group, or the first or the best, whatever. And right now, I don't think they're going to make it a battle. And you want to give listen, there's roster politics. There's always going to be roster politics. They're going to give Aaron Banks every opportunity to be the guy. But when he said, man, Poe could be better, and it's just good, right? You want these guys to be good, but dang, you got a lot of new guys on the offensive line, a lot of new guys. And it's a little interesting. I believe that truly another season that Shanahan pressed to get Lance because he can move, and with that O-line, Jimmy wouldn't last one game. I think there's a balance there. And again, this is not, not to make this anything about Jimmy and Trey or anything like that, but Trey Lance potentially needs a better offensive line because he kind of can hold on to the ball a little bit longer, whereas Jimmy, even with a bad offensive line, might offset that by getting the ball out of his hands quicker. I think they offset it in their different ways, right? Where Trey Lance, he's might hold on to a little bit longer, but he also can maneuver a little bit and kind of buy sometimes to get out on the edge and make plays, whereas Jimmy wants to throw from the pocket, but he will do it quicker. So there's that. And I'm just kind of, just going off of the difference between those two guys. But here we go, Terry Dome. Helps with pad level, though. Yeah, and that's the one thing, right? We have all learned that, we've all learned low man wins. And nobody is lower than Poe. Nobody is lower than Poe. All right, but I don't want to harp too much on the offensive line. I just some things that, when you hear the McGlinchey thing, to me, it was, what? Nick Mullins got traded. The Raiders are sending quarterback Nick Mullins to the Vikings for a conditional 7th-round pick in 2024. So not even this year, next year. Hey, if he could get traded, I'd assume Jimmy Garoppolo could get traded, right? But anyways, I don't want to harp too much on the offensive line. I did see, you know what? Can we talk about Trey Lance wobbly balls? That sounds, goes to Judah. That's a little, wobbly. All right, but pause. All right, you gotta say pause with that. He seems to be struggling. Why is that? Trey Lance isn't really struggling. Are you saying he's struggling with throwing wobbly balls? I'd say he's throwing spirals, and I'd say he's throwing some wobbles. And I'll say this: if you throw a wobble and people catch it, nobody's gonna care. You know what? Let's take a look at this real quick. All right, hold on. I got something for you. And then again, I didn't come on here to talk about Trey Lance today, but I know 49ers and all that, whatever. But there are players that potentially can throw a wobbly ball, and nobody cares, right? Like nobody cares if you throw a wobbly pass and it gets to the intended target. Who cares? Who cares? All right, so let's look at this. I'll share my screen right now. Hold on. And I saw this live. And I was like, if this was Trey Lance, what would they be saying? So watch this ball here. Patrick Mahomes. First of all, let's talk about the first thing here. Because we started talking about mechanics. He brought that ball below his waist, throws it, and that's a wobbly ball. But guess what? Who cares? He completed the pass. Nobody cares. Look how wobbly this is. The ball it was wobbly. But nobody cares. When you complete this, and this is a wobble, nobody cares. Nobody cares. So Trey Lance, he can throw as many wobbly passes as he wants. Because you know what? As long as he's completing his passes, I don't care. I think they just make a big... I did not come on here to talk about Trey Lance today. People are going to find new ways to talk about Trey Lance or bring him down. And I don't know what the fascination is with him, but I feel like it's very consistent. It's very consistent that they just find these different things. And it's like, who cares about that? Oh, man, he drops the low ball below his waist. Man, does he complete the damn ball? And that's all that matters. That's all that matters. Great show. Too bad your QB isn't great. I appreciate the contribution. I appreciate the contribution. All right. But here we go. Yeah. All right. We ain't gonna do that. Next topic, y'all. Next topic. So, Mike McGlinchey. All right. Real quick, I'll touch on one thing because I've been keeping an eye on this, and y'all know I have I don't want to say concerns. That's not the word for it. I had a certain analysis of a certain receiver and kind of where he was in his development and things he needed to work on. And we're talking about Danny Gray. All right. And Danny Gray, when watching his film, and I've talked about this, I was like, man, I would like to see him play with more high-end controlled speed. I thought watching him in college, especially playing against press and solid corners, just weren't scared of his speed at all from the line of scrimmage. Now, one thing is very clear. When you're playing off, he will run by you. That's clear. Can he be fast en route? And I'd say I see, again, it's kind of hard to tell because a lot of what I've seen, for whatever reason, there are a lot of guys playing off against him. And I don't know if that's kind of a matchup that the 49ers have gone with, where it's like, hey, we know if we get this look, then, okay, Danny is going to excel in this area, and he's done an amazing job of that. But there are a couple things that stand out to me about where he's at right now. Obviously, he can run straight really fast. We know that, and that is going to be lethal for the 49ers, especially Trey Lance keep airing that hole out. All right. But one thing has stood out, and he's done it back-to-back weeks now, and I was like, this is really good stuff from Danny Gray, because he's not like this big receiver. But both times he ended up being out of bounds. But I really, really liked and appreciated his ability to really concentrate on catching the ball with somebody draped over him while trying to keep his feet in bounds. And again, both times, slightly out of bounds, right? You had one throw that was a little bit too far outside. He tried to keep his feet in bounds, but he made the catch with the body on him. I like the concentration. There was another one in the end zone against the Vikings where he caught it. But again, feet didn't get down. But again, I'm just watching it because a lot of times when guys have a lot to focus on, like that's when you see the drops. And he did a tremendous job of that. So I'm like, okay, he's this close. He's this close. But he's doing a great job of, at the very least, the concentration part of it. And they've done a really good job of freeing him up, whether it's with concepts and things like that. But he doesn't have to just be a straight line speed guy because there are areas where he's working in the middle of the field and whatnot. I watched him do one-on-ones against the Minnesota Viking player, and he ran the speed in. And I was like, that was good. Hit it with speed. Never slowed down, out of his break, boom. And he didn't really run the corner off, but he hit it with speed right now, and it was just like he got the separation that he needed. So I thought those things were really good. From him, and I want to continue to see him develop. Now, again, still want to see, okay, against press, how's he beating press? Is he able to separate, how are his routes underneath versus press? Those are things I'm going to continue to watch because in games, when the games come, it's third down and 5, they're going to press across the board. And you got to be able to beat that press. So that's one thing that I would like to see him continue to develop in that area. But just in the sense of catching the ball while concentrating, sideline, somebody draped over him, he's caught the ball. I thought that, hey, that's noteworthy right there. And I wanted to point that out. I got Terry Dome in here, and he says he's got to work on his Tony toe tap. All right. He does. But the first thing is he attempting to do it and catching it? Then obviously you want to work the technique of it. I watched Julio Jones, I don't know if it was Atlanta Falcons practice or whatever, but I mean, it was a practice with the Falcons. And Julio Jones, he's in practice and he's talking to his young receivers, I think Calvin Ridley and maybe another young guy, about keeping the feet in bounds and some drills that he works. And he likes to open his hips, right? So the way he opens his hip, he puts his front foot down first. So the one that's the leg that's furthest away from the quarterback, right? So that leg, he goes to plant that right down on the sideline, as close to the sideline as possible. And then that opens his hips to where now he's open to the ball. And then once he's catching that, then he just brings that and drags that back leg. And I was like, man, that's actually really good stuff. And to see him do that, and then he just practices. And then before you know it, it becomes kind of second nature, right? And that's something that, yeah, potentially Danny Gray can kind of get down, where it's like, all right, I see the ball. Let me plant that front foot or back leg, ball, drag, and then those be completions. But so far, so good. I like what I'm seeing. All right, more topics here. The running back room. And I think this is a really hot topic with the running back room right now. So let's just talk about who are the 49ers running backs. You got Elijah Mitchell, Ty Davis-Price, Trey Sermon, Jordan Mason, and you got JaMycal Hasty. And I'd say overall, with those 5 guys, am I missing anyone? Jeff Wilson. All right, Jeff Wilson. But I'd say overall, that's a legit running back room. Who's the guy, right? Like, who's that guy where it's like, hey, we're going to ride this dude to 1,500 yards? I don't know. I don't know if there's that guy. But just in the sense of having multiple running backs that can run the rock well, I think the 49ers have that. Elijah Mitchell clearly showed the ability to be able to pick up a lot of yards in the season. Can he be an every down back? I think the health is clearly something to continue to keep an eye on. And little subtle flex here, but, I was on Bleacher Report and people were asking me about that. And I was like, look, Elijah Mitchell, he can run well, but he has to stay healthy. Well, I said that before training camp. He wasn't even able to make it through training camp. So I don't really know how much you can count on him to be your factor back. You would love for him to be that guy that you can continue to hand the ball off to. And when he's playing, Kyle Shanahan did not shy away from handing the ball off to him a lot. We're talking about 27 carries, whatever. Like, he's banged up and he's still giving him 27 carries. So he likes to give him the rock, and he runs well. I think his vision continued to progress throughout the year. Tough runner. I think he got tough in the playoffs because teams started playing so tight to the line of scrimmage and having more guys in the box, and they made it extremely difficult to run the ball. But in general, and you would hope in theory, Trey Lance would help with that to where now it's, just the threat of throwing the ball deep, which he will air it out. Clearly, we've seen that. That'll back some teams off and make them play a little bit more honest and help their running backs. But Elijah Mitchell is definitely somebody who runs well, and he has continued to improve. And I like that. Now, he got to stay healthy. So outside of him, there's Trey Sermon. And there's been a lot of Trey Sermon talk, and it did not look good on paper, right? The box score, you look at his yards per carry and all that, not great. And I think some of these other guys are figuring out how to run. Trey Sermon, where is he at, right? Does he look better if he has the starting offensive line in there? I don't know, because it's like, who the hell is the starting offensive line? You got 4 new guys on the line. All right. But you would hope so. Here's my issue. And again, I hate to be negative Nancy, but this is my opportunity to say, I told you so. I fucking told you so. I came on here, and whether it was here, whether it was Locked On 49ers, I tweeted it out, and everybody told Croc they had to get their guy. This is insurance for Deebo Samuel and all this, that, and the other. And I'm like, why would you draft Ty Davis Price in the 3rd round? Listen, I like Ty Davis Price. I love the way he runs. He has this nice little subtle little bounce to him. There was one play where he didn't, run straight. It was like 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1, whatever it was. Probably should have ran straight. He tried to bounce outside. He got tackled, whatever. But outside of that, that's just a bad decision. But I know he can run inside, and I know he can bounce stuff outside as well. Has nice little wiggle, can make guys miss in space, runs, finishes strong. He does those things. I really like it. I like the way he runs. I like the way he ran at LSU. All right. Now, I still don't see the point in drafting a running back 3rd round. Why? Well, the 49ers have done such a terrific job with either whoever your leading rusher has been over the last – the highest drafted leading rusher for the 49ers over the last 5 years or so, or with Kyle Shanahan, has been – well, not the first year, because they had Carlos Hyde the first year. He was the 2nd down back. So after Carlos Hyde, all right, and maybe I'm kind of like, excluding him to make my argument. But with the guys that they brought in here, the highest drafted guy was Elijah Mitchell, who's a 6th round pick. And in that same draft, you drafted a 3rd round running back, and your 6th round guy outrushed him. And before that is mostly undrafted guys. So why draft a guy in the 3rd round? Everyone told me, oh, well, that's the guy, blah, blah, blah. He did this, that. And I'm like, okay, I get it. I like him too. But it doesn't make sense from a value standpoint because of the value the 49ers have gotten out of some of these later guys. Now, if you're drafting the guy 3rd round because you're like, hey, this is going to be my every down back, then I get it. And let's say, and we talked about this last night, Locked On 49ers, but if they would have drafted Breece Hall, right? You draft Breece Hall in the 2nd round, and you're like, hey, this is our every down back. It's like, okay, I get it. Fits the scheme, outside zone type runner, like does all those things, pass catch well. He's a 3 down back. All right, draft him 2nd round. But if you're drafting a guy just to, 1, be a kind of change of pace person for Elijah Mitchell, or 2, kind of make it to where, okay, this is an extra guy because we don't want Deebo to have to get back there at the running back position as often. You don't draft that in the 3rd round. And I always thought that was crazy. Well, why not? Well, because there's guys like, I don't know, Jordan Mason, who's running well. Now, he's running well. Are the guys he's running against going to play in the NFL in, a couple of weeks? I don't know, right? Some of them might be doing what I'm doing, podcasting, because they couldn't hack it in, they couldn't make it in the NFL. But at the end of the day, everybody's telling me how great Jordan Mason is. Everybody's telling me how great Jordan Mason is running. And how, hey, could this be a guy that finishes as a leading rusher for the 49ers? And I think, yeah, he potentially can. And I'm not saying that because of what he's doing in the preseason. I'm just saying we've seen that from Shanahan backs that have been undrafted. So if you can get that type of running ability out of a guy that you got undrafted, why are you drafting the guy 2 years in a row in the 3rd round? That made no sense to me. That made no sense to me. And maybe I'm wrong. And I'm trying to look at what are guys' roles. Everybody wants to write off Hasty. I wouldn't write off Hasty. I think Hasty is a legitimate 3rd down running back. It's like he has a role and they really like him. They really like him. They like Hasty in that role. Now, they can cut Hasty tomorrow. And I don't think anyone would blink an eye. Or bat an eye. Blink an eye. Bad eye. Blink an eye. whatever. They can cut Hasty tomorrow and whatever. But to me, it seems like there's a legit role for him in this offense. They like him on third downs. They like his pass catching ability, his route running ability. When the 49ers were in the NFC Championship game and Jimmy Garoppolo did the behind the back no look, he did his little Magic Johnson impersonation, right? And threw the interception at the end of the game. Who was he targeting? Hasty. So at the very least, that lets you know that Hasty is in these games in key moments. Like, they like him, right? So I just always thought it was really weird to draft a running back third round Ty Davis Price. I thought it was weird. I like the player, but I just thought that was weird. And this played out to be pretty weird. Pretty weird. And again, I see my guy Brian right here. Where did I say that? Right here. My guy Justin E called out Jordan Mason before minicamp as making the roster. You know what? And there are a few people out there that are like, hey, Jordan Mason, watch out for him. Jordan Mason. I'm like, okay, they keep talking about this Jordan Mason guy. All right. Then you see him running, and you're like, okay, he runs hard. As a matter of fact, he looks like a Jeff Wilson clone. Jordan Mason, I'm watching him run. I'm like, this is Jeff Wilson. This is just a bigger Jeff Wilson. Now, Jeff Wilson runs bigger. He runs bigger and harder than what his listed size is. But it's like, man, it's just a bigger version. And I'm like, okay. I could see it. I could see him potentially. Like, if he made the roster, I think, all right, yeah. So why draft a running back third round? I didn't get that value. Bro, I think they literally took TDP that soon as a bluff pick to prove to Debo he won't have a... Nah, I don't think so, man. I don't think so. They don't, in my opinion, they don't take me as someone that's like, hey, let's take this guy. We're going to show you, Debo. We're going to show you. Like, nah, that's not how they get down. And once they didn't trade Debo before the draft, I mean, they were going to keep him regardless. So, yeah, I don't see that one. You know who was on the board, though, who I thought they would pick? And there's this meme that goes around. Y'all want to see this meme? Watch this. Because somebody just tweeted it out today. Actually, not somebody. It's my guy, Jason Aponte. All right. But there's this meme. I think that's what you call it, right? A meme. Anyways, I thought it was hilarious. But this is my reaction to when they drafted Ty Davis Price because I didn't understand it. Shout out to my guy, Jason Aponte. All right. But this was and now they use this as when somebody sees something kind of like silly or whatever that they don't agree with, they make this face. And this was my face. This was my legit reaction when they drafted Ty Davis Price. Not because Ty Davis Price, I don't think he could be a good football player. I did not understand the value. But this was that was my face right there. 49ers on the clock. Y'all see it. We were live in Dallas. Locked On Network. Man, it was great production, all type of great stuff. This was a good time. A little nerve-wracking, I'm not going to lie. It was a little something that I'm not necessarily used to. It's like, dang, the cameras are on. And the pressure to not mess up. Like, when I'm talking to y'all, it's like, this is like a radio show, right? And I can just talk to y'all, and we're having a conversation. Y'all cool, I'm cool, we chilling. All right. But this was my reaction, and the camera caught me when they drafted Ty Davis Price. And I'm like, I didn't get it. Like, what? What is this? Why would you draft a running back there? I didn't get it. I still kind of don't get it. Aside from, I like Ty Davis Price, and clearly the 49ers do too. But I think they liked him a little bit more to draft him where they did. I don't agree with that. All right, but that's the running back room. All right, one other note, and then we'll get to y'all in the chat. But Diamador Lenore, I hadn't seen him when I was at practice. I didn't see him take any nickel or slot reps. I hadn't seen it be reported at all that Diamador Lenore took any nickel snaps. But I'm watching the game, and next thing I know, I see Diamo. Let me call him Diamo because his sister watches the show. And whenever I call him Diamador, she corrects me. And she'd be like, Diamo. We call him Diamo. And I'm like, all right, Diamo. All right. So Diamo Lenore, he took snaps in the nickel. And I think that was big for him. I say right now, heading into the season, again, we're trying to figure out who's going to make this roster. Somebody's not going to make it. I think they're giving him every opportunity. All right, you can play outside, put you in that nickel, and I thought he played well in both spots. I think he's a lock. And heading into training camp, I don't know if you could have said that. There was kind of a lot going on with the 49ers and the cornerback group, and they brought in guys, right? You got Travarius Ward, you got Emmanuel Mosley. Matter of fact, let's write out who they have, right? So we got Mosley, lock, Ward, lock, all right? And then there's kind of like the others. I think Verrett's going to start off on PUP. So I'm not even going to add Verrett yet. I'll just put PUP, all right? So we're not gonna add him. So we got 1, 2, now 3. Who's the third guy? I'd say Womack, right? He's pretty much a lock. Now, heading into the training camp stuff, was Womack automatically a lock? I'd say probably no, right? I wouldn't say Womack was 100% a lock, but clearly he's a lock. Like that's your starting nickel, all right? Now, fourth spot. Who's going to be? There's some guys that they brought in. You had Dinner. They cut him. So, okay, that takes him away. You have Ambry Thomas. You have Diamo Lenore. You have, the guy that never goes away, Dante Johnson. Castro Fields. They drafted him. So it's like, okay, who's the fourth guy? And I'd say, at this point, I think Lenore. I think Lenore ends up being a lot. So we got Lenore. All right. Now you got 5 and 6. You got 2 more spots. 2 more spots. Again, this is not including Jason Verrett, because if Jason Verrett ended up being healthy, which I don't know, I saw him run a couple weeks ago. There was still kind of like a slight gimp. I'd say they start him off on PUP, give him that opportunity. Somebody gets down, like, okay, middle of the season or whatever, you get him back. I think you're really excited about that. But I'd say he starts off on PUP, which helps some of these other guys. All right, so you got 2 spots left, I'd assume, and you got Castro Fields, Dante Johnson, Ambry Thomas. I guess out of those 3 guys, and Quantrez Knight. Good job right here. So then you got Quantrez Knight, and he's a guy who plays in the nickel as well, right? But out of those guys, those 4 guys, there's only 2 spots. There we go. All right. See, I told y'all his sister be watching. There we go. I'm learning. I'm sorry. I'm learning. Diamo. So you don't got to kill me today. All right. But somebody said Castro Fields bye. See, Castro Fields, I mean, it's a little tough. It's a little tough for him. Castro Fields, again, this is without me really watching and truly understanding exactly what happened. I know why I was watching. And Castro Fields, I know he's been following me for years on Twitter, so this is no offense. I know if I'm Castro Fields, or if I'm advising him, maybe I'll DM him and tell him. But you are on a cusp of making this team. You got to make a play. You got to challenge yourself. And they targeted him 6 times, and they had 6 catches. Again, there's no context with that. That's just on paper, 6 targets. He gave up 6 catches. And I remember watching live. This is without me watching back. This is without me knowing what his coaches are telling him. But I was thinking this while I'm watching. He needs to challenge himself. And I was like, man, I need to DM him. Like, you gotta challenge yourself a little more. And what I mean by that is, like, just don't sit off. And then, okay, they catch it in front of me, I push them out of bounds, or they catch it in front of me, I tackle them. You got to challenge these guys at the catch point. So don't back out as much. Squat on some routes. Try to collide. Whatever you got to do to make this team. Because you're going to have to make plays now. Yep, and I forgot Holman. Holman's another guy, too, because he plays outside, he plays nickel, and he be in there. And number 14 right now that they just got... he played with the Saints. Can't think of his name. He went kind of viral for the Justin Jefferson kind of whooping them while he was with the 49ers at training camp. Crawley. And you got Crawley. So there are a bunch of guys. And, Castro Fields will make the practice squad. If I had to guess, I'd assume that Castro Fields would make the practice squad. The only thing is, I remember this corner, 49ers drafted late, some years ago. This is years ago. But he went by the name of Cooper. What was his first name? Can't think of his first name. But I know the 49ers drafted Cooper 6th or 7th round. Kind of like Castro Fields, right? And they let him go, probably thinking like, oh, we'll bring him back on practice squad. Well, somebody else picked him up. And next thing you know, he started like 7 games that year for another team. And he started games in the NFL for some years, right? So sometimes either maybe it's not a great fit for your team or can't get in the group. Maybe it's changing scenery, whatever it is. But I know that guy, I think we just assume like, oh, yeah, let him go, come back on practice squad. And maybe. But if there's another team that likes him and feels like, hey, we could use him this way and he's going to excel more. Because to me, I really liked him a lot in press. And I haven't seen him do that, a lot of that. There we go, Marcus Cooper. That was him, Cooper. Cooper went to the Chiefs. He started, 5-6 games his rookie year? After being let go by the 49ers? Right, so. All right, y'all, enough of me talking. I mean, I talked for a long time today. You know what it is, man. If y'all enjoying this show, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We got over 400 of y'all in here. It's the San Francisco 49ers morning show. Now, I'm going to give y'all the opportunity to speak your piece so y'all know what to do, man. Come on live. Here we go. Putting the link in the chat right now. Shout out to all my people in here. Hit that right. Like that. Copy, paste that like that. All right, and boom. There we go. So y'all come on live, man. Whatever it is that, y'all want to chop it up about. We've talked about a lot. All right, we talked about a lot. We talked about McGlinchey, potential concerns there. Danny Gray, and some areas where outside of just being a vertical guy, where I think, man, I've noticed him do these things the last couple of weeks, and I think this is good. All right, Trey Sermon. Are the issues kind of overblown? But what does that running back room look like? We talked about Jason Poe. Is he better than Aaron Banks? That's what my guy Brian Peacock is saying. Locked on 49ers. He's like, man, I think that guy's just better. But there's roster politics and everything. And then we talked about Diamo Lenoir. All right, Diamo. We talked about Diamo and finally seen him in the nickel spot. And I thought he did a good job there. All right. So here we go. First up, got my guy, Swan Song. Swan Song, what's good, bro?
What's up, Croc? Nice topics today. Nice topics. So I saw a tweet last night from, I think, Marco Martinez, and he brought up Andre Dillard from the Eagles, former first round right tackle.
Yeah.
Right. They didn't give him the 5th-year option. Right. He was I think drafted in 2019. And he's the backup right now. I looked up his PFF grade, 70. Like that's pretty solid. I know PFF is not the end all be all, but at least it gives me some basis because I don't know what I'm looking at with pretty much on offensive line. If I just see it, whatever.
Listen,
yeah. Like,
not saying that I don't know what I'm looking at, but I probably know what I'm looking at, kind of similar to you, right? Where you watch offensive linemen, and it's like, okay, did he stay in his block?
Did he win or did he win?
Is he reaching the next level? Okay, that stuff looks good. I think he's doing a good job.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm in the same ballpark as you with that.
Yeah, so that's something I think what we're going to see is if we see once the 49ers, they're not going to make a move until they've exhausted everything, right? And in this case, it would be, can McGlinchey play, right? That's still in question. And can McKivitz be relied on? Because I don't think they make a move until they have those two, questions answered. That Dillard guy is out there, but it's probably going to be pricey. He's probably going to be pricey, like probably like a 3rd or 4th round pick. And you have to sign him next year because he's a free agent after that. So that's something to consider. But I mean, shoot. That guy looks like the most solid guy you can get right now that's healthy. I mean, I know Eric Fisher's out there, but I mean, Eric Fisher, he hasn't looked right since his Achilles injury. So I'm not sure if that's the guy that you go for, Speaking of Poe, I know that Poe's been like the darling of camp, right? Like you hear him like do this, like he one-on-ones, he's winning everything. But man, when I look at it, it looks weird, dude. When he walks out there, he looks like Rudy, like I'm watching Rudy.
Hey, real quick, that's what Peacock was saying too. Because I'm like, Peacock, I just haven't really watched him. He's like, man, he stands out because he's small and he looks small, but he's like, he just keeps winning.
Yeah, it's like he lines up back there. He makes more sense like a fullback than an offensive line. Like when the team's walking out, right? I bet you fans that don't know, It's like, hey, is that a big fullback that they got? No, he's on the line. What? But
Have you seen that fullback for the Baltimore Ravens?
yeah, that Boyle, that guy is big.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but he doesn't even like look big, right? Like, I
yeah,
mean, he's one of those people where you end up saying, man, he
stocky.
holds his weight
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
But that seems like Poe, where it's like, man, I'm 300 pounds. Like that fullback. Again, Baltimore has a fullback that's 300 pounds, but he catches passes out the
yeah.
backfield and he lead blocks and he does all these things. Like that's their legit fullback. I think they signed him at the same time 49ers signed Kyle Juszczyk, and he was kind of Kyle Juszczyk's replacement. But Poe could definitely do that. But it sounds like he's doing good at guard. He
Yeah,
just is short.
yeah. I just need to see more because the only thing that I've seen, like I know it's been on people has been tweeting this, is he's blowing up a cornerback. I mean, right? He gets a pull block and he just like blows up this cornerback, right? That's all I've seen. I haven't seen any more than that. I mean, I from what I've seen from Banks, he looks solid. Like everyone that has reviewed his tape from like the all 21 or whatever, showing that like he had a totally clean game against Green Bay, and I believe what I've heard in this game he had one pressure. He doesn't look. I mean, he just looks solid. He doesn't look amazing like when he's running for like a block on the running part. He doesn't. He gets to the right spot. He doesn't mess it up, but it's not powerful. He's not very fast, but I think he's solid. That's the
He tested well though. Real quick. So we learned now, and I do have a couple other people on, so I'll get you off after this,
Right on, right
after
on.
your response to this. But we looked, and there's this metric, right? Everybody with receivers and corners and everything, right? They focus on the 40 times in athletic testing. And one thing that we've realized as far as the great ones, right? Like as far as like some of the best players in the league, there's a better correlation to offensive line 40 times than there is receiver 40 times. So
Makes sense.
with receivers, you see guys that run 4.55 and can still be the best receiver in the NFL. Where offensive linemen, some of the guys that are the best athletes on the O-line typically are guys that actually end up playing better than the field, which is something that I never really realized. And if you look at Poe, again, I think one of the biggest knocks, he's barely 6 feet tall, but he tested extremely well. So I know you said he's not fast,
Yeah,
but I think that's
yeah,
one of
yeah.
the things that they really
Yeah.
like about him, his ability to move out in space and do some of those things.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that, and it does make sense that it would translate more on offensive line because it's a less of a skilled position. Like there's no shade. Like being a wide receiver, you can't just run fast. You got to run your routes right. You got to have good hands. All those things that you mentioned. Two things I'll just stop with this is Jake Brendel tested off the charts.
Did he?
Yeah, off the charts, like 9.7 something on his athletic RAS score or whatever it was, and yeah,
Relative athletic score. I think
yeah,
that's,
yeah. He's like 9.7. Look it up; it's crazy. He just hasn't been healthy or hasn't had a chance, so we'll see. But thanks,
All
Croc.
right, man. I appreciate you coming on, Swanson.
Yeah, all the time.
All right, here we go. Next man up, we got M. San. Good morning, bro. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How you doing, Crack?
Let's see if I could get you up on the kind of blow you up a little. Boom. There we go. All right, we up close and personal with you.
All right, cool,
yeah.
cool. Hey, this is gonna be a quick one because I'm in the store and all that, and I gotta get out of here.
All
But
good.
I just wanted to say, I know everybody's hating on Ambry Thomas because he's not really having a good camp like that. But I still think he's gonna make the team, and I think that his in-game play is much better than. For some reason, I don't know why it is. He's not playing it like well in practice. I think his in-game play is much better. I think you mentioned before a few episodes ago where like he's used to press, and that they might have him playing off, and he's got to get used to that.
Yeah.
So that might be an adjustment too. And the last thing is it's the second year. Everybody gets a slump. First year he was going through some things. This is his second year. He might have a second year slump or whatever. But I think he's gonna figure it out, and I think it'd be a bad decision if they get rid of him. I know we stacked at this cornerback position. I think like we got a lot of depth there. But so whoever gets cut, they might get picked up. But yeah, man,
Right.
I like Ambry.
All right. Yeah.
What you
And I
think?
like him
What you
too.
think?
You're talking about a guy, height, weight, speed. He has all that. I thought there was a clear area where he excelled in college at Michigan. They lined him up near the line of scrimmage in press alignment. It felt like 90% of the time. And then he goes to the 49ers and it's like 90% of the time he's playing off. I'm like, man, that
Right,
is not
right.
what he did in college. I thought the strength of his was at the line of scrimmage. I thought even in scenarios where it was a zone, he did a good job of reading down concepts from the line of scrimmage and using his
Yeah.
keys, reading pressure key, visual key, where he would squeeze one, see two, or back, come to the flat, peel off one, go make a tackle. Like he did all that great from the line of scrimmage. Then he gets to the NFL and it's like playoff coverage, and it's like, hey, that wasn't really where he excelled. And I think there's been that transition of trying to figure that out. I wonder if he has like the leeway to do more. Like when I was with the Jets, right? When I was with the Jets, and I remember Coach Dennis Thurman. I'm like, I was so used to playing a certain way because in college, right, we played either a lot of man or a lot of cover three. But I know, man, okay, I can go press cover three. Okay, we're off. Well, I get to the Jets and Coach Dennis Thurman, he's like, him and Coach Tim McDonald, they're like, dude, you can press from any coverage. It's just your alignment changes. So if it is cover three, then you could still bail out, but just make sure that you're still reading 2-1. Or if it's cover two, same thing, right? If it's cover two, now okay, I'm just outside shade, as opposed to, but you could same with cover four, outside shade. So you could still line up at the line of scrimmage, which was a strength of mine, but your alignment just changes. And I wonder if they're telling Ambry Thomas, like, hey, like, okay, we're running cover four, but you can play press alignment. And I know that's the strength
Yeah.
of his. So we'll see if they're doing that for him.
Right. Um. So what about that last game though? When because he's still sticky to me. Like he when he almost had a breakup. It popped in the air and then he couldn't get his hands on it.
Are you talking about the
I
one
think
that
it might
ended
have
up being
been
a catch?
yeah, that one.
Yeah. So yeah, there's like a little like unlucky aspect to that one, but
Right,
it
right.
was tight coverage, right? It's like everything you want to see from
It
movement
was
skill standpoint, getting your hand in there, knocking the
everything.
ball away. It pops up. He did a good job, and then the receiver just was able to run and track it down. And it's like, damn! I know he's just like, God, I just can't
Bro, I
win.
was tight. I ain't gonna lie, I was
And
tight,
then you got
man.
the
I'm like,
fans. The
oh
fans like he just has terrible ball skills.
man.
I'm
Yeah,
like, come on, man.
right.
Yeah.
All right, man. Yeah, that's all I got, man. I'm gonna tune in
All right.
later
Appreciate
on.
you coming on.
Thank you.
All right. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Over 400 of y'all right now. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. All my 49er fans. Hey, you got Raider fans in here too? Raider fans. Hey, I actually defend the Raiders. Not defend. I just kind of let people know. Because it does bother me sometimes when I see people be like, Cowboy Nation or like Niner Nation. I'm like, man, there's only one nation. And that's the Raider Nation. There's only one nation. I'll give you that. 49ers, we got the faithful. Cowboys, you got America's team. You know, these other teams, you got your little, sayings and things that you are. Raiders, there's only one nation. There is only one nation. Oh, man, we got the little porno creeper people. Hold on, y'all. Let me block them real quick. All right. But anyways, here we go. Next up, got two guys waiting right now. I feel like we can go a little long today, so I'm going to put the link in there again. But first up, I got my guy, Dion. Dion, what's good, man? Good morning, bro.
Rocky, what's good with you, family? How you doing, man?
Oh, man, you know what I'm saying? I'm chilling, feeling good, feeling blessed.
Yes, sir, man. Hey, we 2-0. That's all that really matters. Yeah, I was taking a look at the last.
Okay, hold on. Got to push back just a
No,
little
I'm
bit.
not. I'm not done. I'm just
Okay, my bad.
saying.
Go ahead.
We 2-0 in the preseason. Got the dubs. Good things to take away. Honestly, man, the Trey Sermon thing, I'm not gonna put a lot of stock into it because he didn't necessarily have the holes to run through. When I took a look back at the game, I was like, doesn't really look like he had any openings to go anywhere, and that's the hard part when it comes down to it. Because if you're a running back, you got to have lanes. Other than that, I mean, if it's a block, the line is blocking the way that they need to block, or play wasn't executed properly, yeah, you're not going anywhere. When it comes to the DBs, yeah, Demo looked good. Ambry Thomas, you know, there's ups and downs, there's ebbs and flows in every career, man. So you're gonna see that, and hopefully he continues to go. I doubt they'll cut him just because of the investment that they have into him, along with the fact that I like the mix of Nate Sudfeld and Brock Purdy. But make no mistake, people, Sudfeld is definitely the backup. Don't ever think there's going to be a competition. Purdy reminds me.
They're saying that there's some type of okay. So yeah, I'm thinking like you. I mean, Nate Sudfeld, they gave him $2 million guaranteed.
Exactly.
So typically, you get $2 million and you're a backup quarterback. That's like okay, you're the backup. Well,
Yeah.
This past game, and I heard somebody say like, "Hey man, like in practice, Brock Purdy was going with the twos." Okay, didn't think much of it, but there might actually be a legit competition because they swapped possessions. And initially, you had Sudfeld in there, and I'm like, all right, Sudfeld's in there, okay, does a thing, cool, whatever. Then you see Brock Purdy, and I'm like, damn, they brought Purdy in pretty soon. Like they're gonna have him play 3 straight quarters. That would have been surprising to me. And then Sudfeld's back in. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe Sudfeld, he got banged up. They had to get cleared. Maybe he had to change his shoes or something. I don't know. And then he comes back in. No, they flip-flopped the rest of the game. So I'd say if it had felt like Sudfeld gives you a little bit more. They're different a little bit, right? You get a little bit more movement skills from Brock Purdy. You get a little bit more typically kind of the efficiency as a passer, big, strong arm guy, etc. from Nate Sudfeld. But I think they might actually like Purdy, and maybe they're making this some type of competition. But if you thought you were going to make it any type of competition, why give Sudfeld $2 million guaranteed? I don't know. So I don't know. But I do think there is somewhat of a competition there. I don't want to say it's not nothing. But I'm with you. I felt all along like, oh, Sudfeld, that's the backup. I think he's looked really sharp.
Yeah, I think personally it's just a situation of, I have to go with the money. Like, you're not going to give somebody $2 million, sit them on the bench, and then be like, oh, well, now you're the practice squad guy. You don't pay practice squad people $2 million a year. But I think, they may have saw a little bit of progression from, Brock Purdy. The first game against Green Bay, he had the nice little touchdown to Tanner Hudson. Good 2-point conversion over there to Keyshawn Johnson, who we've since cut. So for me, this past game, honestly, what I was looking for was I was trying to see if there was going to be a receiver that was going to step up and, try to snag that spot outside of the 5 guys we all anticipate to make it. And nobody really stood out, man. It kind of sucked. Nobody really, made those plays and, had the numbers to kind of go along with it. We basically are kind of at a stalemate with the 5 that we got. And, of course, IU, Debo, Jennings, Gray, and McLeod. And everybody else outside of that, man, I didn't really see a standout guy that's going to try to claim that 6th spot if they do roll with 6 receivers. Offensive line.
I think Malik Turner.
Turner? Okay. Okay.
Well, I just try to look, between the lines on things and kind of how they're the rotation of guys. And I talked about it in the first preseason game. The first receivers out there were Jawan Jennings and Malik Turner. And then they brought in Raymond McLeod in the slot in 3 receiver situations. So I learned a couple things from that. One, if Malik Turner's on special teams, I think he's going to be on this roster. Next thing you know, he's running down on kickoffs. I think he even forced a fumble last game. So Malik Turner is clearly in there. And I think he's right now is in the driver's seat for that 6th spot. But I also learned that Ray McLeod in sure passing situations, I think he's going to be your slot. And I think Jawan Jennings, I think his role when the season comes will be a little less than what people were thinking. Now, again, it's just preseason. Maybe they get into the regular season and he's not your every down slot receiver. I know they like him in the slot, especially for blocking purposes. But I think McLeod is going to take some of his targets. And so I think those are your 6. Debo, Ayuk, Jawan Jennings, Ray McLeod, Danny Gray, and Malik Turner. That's what it looks like with their usage, but we'll see.
Okay, I can dig that. As far as the usage goes, I think that makes a lot of sense. Especially if you are playing special teams, you do have a right to pretty much make the 53 because they want to make sure you're there to be able to make those kinds of plays. So I can't dispute that much. The one thing that I love this preseason, man, is all the interceptions. I'm not even gonna front you. The interceptions have been fantastic, and the interceptions that Samuel Womack had were the kind of interceptions you want to see from a DB, snatching it out the receiver's hands, running around and just jumping it at the right time. Those are the types of intersections I like to see from DBs because some guys are opportunistic. They're in the right place at the right time, and there's no knock on them for that. But you love to see when it's a competitive type interception, and that gives you a little bit more of a cause to pause, so to speak. When it comes to being the quarterback on the opposite side, you're like, I don't know if I want to throw at this dude no more. He just picked off twice, and Jordan Love, he looked all right in that game, but believe me, if Aaron Rodgers decides to take some more psychedelics during the season and has to miss a game or two,
I like Love, man.
He's all right, but I don't trust him for more than 3 games. I'll tell you that much. You typically don't want your backup to play more than that, but yeah, you can't have Rodgers have like collarbone injury or something like that because he's going to wind up killing himself. He looked all right, but he didn't look fantastic. But I love the way the defense is playing, man. The interceptions are making me happy. I love how Javon Kinlaw looked. One thing I do have to say is, man, Minnesota, y'all got to stop being so salty, bro. They were really pissed off when we was doing that gritty. Those commentators were upset.
I heard them. They're not going to come in here and do their gritty.
You're not going to come in here and do the gritty. Yes, we're going to come in here and do the gritty. You're supposed to disrespect the other team when you score in their house. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's crazy. But yeah,
all right,
man.
Dion, I appreciate you coming on, man. I'm going to get to the next callers.
All right, man. Peace.
All right. Here we go. Real quick, got a couple people waiting real quick. Want to get to the super chat from my guy Swung Song. He says, heard it before, but give us your Womack take. All right, y'all. Here is my Womack take. And I see the private chat's going. How did Peacock feel about something? All right, we'll get into the private chat as well. I see y'all, but I'm actually gonna bring y'all up. So, heard it before. Give us your Womack take. When I watch Womack, first of all, it was extremely difficult to find like his college film. I knew nothing about him. Throughout the draft process. 49ers drafted him. I was like, okay, interesting. Now you see his size. And once you see his size, you're initially thinking, oh, this is a nickel guy. And then I remember once I did watch him, and it was very hard to come across Toledo film for whatever reason. I have this drive on Google where I have a bunch of film, right? A bunch of film that I have access to. And some teams I'll have 10 games, right? Like LSU, Alabama. I mean, even some of the smaller school guys. I mean, Trey Lance. I mean, I probably had every Trey Lance game. I mean, I typically have a decent amount for a lot of these schools. There was nothing on Toledo, which was weird. And I found a few things on YouTube of Womack, and my initial reaction, which without being able to see the full field of things, I was like, man, like he looks like. First of all, he looked taller than 5'9", and maybe because he has really long arms. Maybe it was the number 0, I don't know. But he looked taller, and I'm like, man, he kind of moves. He looks like an outside corner for the most part. And I was curious to see because I think when you see that height, it's like, oh, this is a slot guy. Well, we had Tracy Sandler come on, and hopefully I get her back on this Wednesday. But we had Tracy Sandler come on, and she said, yeah, and this was before even training camp, or maybe like a week into training camp. And Tracy Sandler says, yeah, I think Womack is going to win the starting nickel spot. I was like, okay. This is well before the preseason game. Obviously, he goes in the preseason game, and he kills it. And it's like, damn. Then next thing you know, just cut Denard. And what I learned about him from there is, one, he has sticky man cover skills. Like, that was clear. Just how he plays it. He had great understanding his leverage. His eye discipline was terrific both times, both interceptions. I see a stat here. Where is it at? I just saw a stat here on my I don't see it. But anyways, there was like 24 coverage snaps. He's given up 0 catches. Here we go. 24 coverage snaps. He's been targeted 3 times. He's allowed 0 catches, and he's had 2 interceptions. All right. So that's legit. That's what you want to see from a guy, albeit against backups and stuff in reserves. The timing with their, when you get the starters in there is definitely a little bit more precise. But you see him do things that I feel like translates no matter who you're playing. When you have great eye discipline, you're driving routes before looking back. You're playing aggressive and physical through the hands. When you're playing two-man and you're making the guy have to work through you to get into a trail position, undercut, get your head around. I think he's doing a lot of things that are fundamentally sound on top of being a guy that runs in the 4-3s. And that was one thing that I think the 49ers were missing with Quan Williams, who was great. Underneath, we're talking about 8 yards and under. Kawhi Williams probably one of the best in the league from a tackling standpoint, blitzing, understanding his run fits. He was tough as nails. I thought he lacked a little bit on vertically pushing routes, and you hope that Womack can give you that ability. And if you have him for the next 4 years, that's a win. So that's kind of my take on Womack there. All right, here we go. Got a couple other super chats real quick before we get to the callers. Got 4 of you guys waiting right now. Bet me scared. Here we go. Bet you me scary loser. Loser donates 100 to Croc for, the Monday after. Listen, y'all gotta donate it to me, man. Y'all can give it to me to hold it, and then I'll give it to y'all for whoever wins. But appreciate y'all though. But yeah, I know my guy comes in, and he does his bear trolling, but I don't know. I wouldn't worry too much about it. I like to entertain it in a sense of just to hear his thoughts and the perspective. And I really like listening to other fan bases, but outside of that, you can't let it bother you too much, y'all. Juwan Jennings, Ambry Thomas, and Trey Sermon will probably all make the team, but none of them have earned it this preseason. And I think if they do make it, that's kind of the clear definition of roster politics there, where it's like, hey, I was a draft pick, I got drafted, and, pretty high because all these guys were Ambry Thomas, late third round, but third round. Trey Sermon, third round. Juwan Jennings, late, seventh round. I still think that out of all those guys, there's a clear role for Juwan Jennings, and I try to look at that, like, what's the role for this guy? I think there's a clear role for Juwan Jennings, which is he's your big slot. I don't know how many out routes he caught in that last game, but 5-yard outs, he's running those. But I think they really like his blocking ability in the run game. So there's that aspect. There's a clear role. Now, Ambry Thomas and Trey Sermon, we'll see. We'll see. I don't think there's a clear role for those guys right now. Here we go. Breaking news. Tashawn Gibson signed. Is Jimmy Ward going to miss significant time? Great question. I believe that's my guy Mike from Nothing But Niner. Shout out to the Nothing But Niner gang. And I always bring this up, man. First time I was ever on YouTube talking 49ers, it was with Nothing But Niners. And I would go on there a bunch. Man, that was some years ago, huh? Mike, what was that, 2017, 2018, something like that? It was a little while ago. It was a little while ago. But shout out to my Nothing But Niner guys. Does this mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's that or... Tashawn Gibson, I haven't watched him a whole lot as of late. And here's the tough thing, because I do evaluate a lot of prospects and things like that. I watch guys more. So in NFL, they have different kind of scouts. You got your college scouts, you got your pro scouts. And if I were on an NFL team, I would be more of their college scout, right? The guy who goes around. I evaluate the guys coming into the NFL. I typically don't evaluate the guys in the NFL as much. I'll watch guys. Obviously, I know everything about Niner guys. But on other teams, I know how I feel about guys coming into the league. I typically don't watch them to the extent to have a big understanding of what they are in the league. And Tashawn Gibson, he's one of those. So we'll see. Is the Jimmy Ward injury more significant than we are led to believe? I'd say with the hamstrings or soft tissue injuries, you just kind of don't really know. But I'd assume, and again, Kyle used the word, what did he say, significant hamstring injury. So he can potentially be out a little bit longer than what people are expecting, which you hope he's back right away. Does Gibson move the needle? Is there something that they're seeing in Odom, who had an interception? Odom, Hufanga, Moore. Is there something he's seen in those guys where it's like, hey, we need another veteran to this group? That could potentially be the case. But I don't know. All right, here we go. Got a good group of folks in here right now. Let's go with CJ Gray. CJ, good morning. How you doing?
What's up, Proc?
Oh man, I'm chilling. How you doing this morning?
Man, I just looked in the chat real quick and I saw that ghost dude again. He patrolling the chat again.
Yeah.
And I had to get on here, man, and I had to squash that real quick, man.
Go ahead, do your thing.
The Bears are in trouble.
Hold on real quick. What kind of setup is that you got behind you? What is that?
This is my home office. I work from home.
Okay. What do you do?
I'm in IT. I'm an exchange administrator for a bank.
Okay, nice. Okay, do your thing. Okay, I love it. I love being able to work in a tank top and a beanie. That's the good life.
Yeah, that's the way it rolls right now, man. It took years to get to this point.
Oh yeah. So hold on real quick, because on this show, and we're gonna talk 49ers, and we got people waiting in here, etc. We're gonna get into that. But you just said something I think is very key, because there are a lot of people that try to get into just different spaces and whatever they're doing in life, right? So whether it's talking about 49ers and they want to be a podcaster, or things that you're doing. I'm building a gym and kind of what it took to get to this level to be able to do that. But what you're doing in banking, and that's different than what I do. But you said it took years to get to that point. So just in 1 minute, can you talk about just the process of that? Because I'm pretty sure there's probably a lot of people in the chat that maybe do something that's like, man, I don't really care to do this right now. Maybe there's something else that they aspire to do, but it kind of takes time, and maybe they just gave up on what it was that they wanted to do a little too soon. So real quick, just 1 minute, share with the people kind of what you had to go through to get to the point to where now you're able to work from home and you got the job that you really like.
Well, I was working at a factory, and then they had an education reimbursement program, and at that time I already had an associate's degree. And so I took advantage of that, took advantage of the reimbursement checks and stuff like that, paid for my education to get my bachelor's degree in IT. And then I worked from the bottom grunt jobs, the lowest help desk jobs, and worked my way up. And then to the point where I was able to get to this, get to an administrator role, engineering roles and stuff like that. And during the pandemic, I was able to transition to working from home. And so right now I have a full-time job continuing to do that. So it was a lot of work. I worked 2 jobs. I worked through internships, grinded through school, probably went through 3-4 hour sleep nights and stuff like that, trying to get the work done and stuff like that. But it's been all worth it, and been able to provide my family with a new life based on that hard work.
Bro, you're like the real version of what's that movie? 7 Pounds? Is it 7 Pounds? What's the movie with Will Smith? And he was selling like the computers. And then, I mean, you didn't have to live in a subway bathroom or anything. But what was that movie, Will Smith? But then he got the intern job with the big like investment group, and then then he worked through the internship, and I mean he had to he worked from the bottom and then potentially got a job. But
maybe Pursuit of Happiness.
Pursuit of Happiness. There we go. Pursuit of Happiness, man. You're like the real version of Pursuit of Happiness. But anyways, all right. I know you didn't come on here to talk about your Pursuit of Happiness, but what you got? Oh, you want to talk about the Bears fan?
Yeah, man. He's killing me, man. The Bears fan is killing me. He's coming here talking about a lot of junk, and I can appreciate fans of fan bases who are of legitimate teams who have actually, of recent note, done something. Like if the Rams person was in here, we could just go back and.
We got a pursuit of Wi-Fi here.
For
you kind of froze up.
Chiefs fan, got a good.
Hold on. All right, CJ, hold on. We're gonna bring you back. My bad. Let me change my. We gotta bring CJ back eventually. He got the pursuit of Wi-Fi. All right, we go get CJ back on when the Wi-Fi gets situated. Okay, I think he's good now. You good now? All right, there you go. You good?
Yeah, I don't know what happened here, but as I was trying to discuss, when fan bases of good teams come into the chat, then we can have good banter and stuff going on. But when you're like the Jets, the Lions, the Bears, and stuff like that, it's hard to have any respect. You sound delusional when you come into the 49er spaces and you're talking this stuff. Like the 49ers, we're an empire. And I know that we had some down years, but the empire is reigning right now. This is a perennial playoff team. We have a bunch of players on the top 100 man roster right now. That top 100 countdown that be going
Hey,
on.
they still haven't said Trent Williams. They still haven't said Debo Samuel, and they're in the top 29.
We got all these players on the top 100 squad and stuff like that. Bears fan, Ghost, you is delusional. I want you to come back up in here when we mop the floor with you on Sunday, and I want to be there in person with my Lance jersey on. Watching
I'm
y'all.
gonna be there too, man. Hey, you let me know when you get your tickets, because I'll buy my tickets with you. We'll sit together.
Man, I've already bought them. I'm gonna be like, I'm in section 114. I'm on third row. I'm gonna be right behind the Niners bench, and I'm gonna up close and personal watch the Niners run all over the Bears, like all over them. Like Justin Fields is gonna get sacked a bunch of times. Trey Lance is gonna bomb it to Danny Gray at least once. I don't know what this dude is thinking. I just don't know. It's just hard to respect it. Like, Bears haven't. When has the Bears gotten to the Super Bowl since '85? I don't think they have any appearances.
No, they did. They played the Colts.
Did they? Oh, okay, that's right. They did lose.
Devin Hester returned the opening kickoff.
Yeah. They did get there, but that still was like 16 years ago, though. That still was a long time ago. And they still ain't done anything relevant recently. And then they got this quarterback. They have no line. They have no offensive weapons for this kid. And
but hold on. We got the Judah guy said that they have a good offensive line, and he said they got the best weapons.
6 times Justin Fields is going to get sacked on September 11th. It's going to be 6 times, Ghost. I like Justin, man. I like Justin, but I hope he don't get injured. Right. But that's about all I had, Croc. I just wanted to get at Ghost, man, and let him know that the Bears ain't never had a relevant quarterback. The Bears they're messing up this quarterback situation with Justin Fields. They're still ain't gonna have a quarterback because he's not gonna succeed because the Bears organization is just not doing what you're supposed to do to allow a young quarterback to succeed. So I wish you the best of luck with your team goes this season, but you could continue to watch the 49ers empire roll as we go to the playoffs again. All
right. Good stuff, man. Appreciate you coming on. All right. That was my guy CJ Gray, consistently in the chat. Here we go. We got I don't even want to say your name wrong.
Sorry, can you see?
Yeah, I can see.
All right, so I'm at home. I'm getting ready for work.
Okay, hold on. Let me know if I say the name right. Kamisha?
Kamisha Monica.
All right, Kamisha Monica. Do I have to say both names together? Like Kamisha Monica? Like Lori Ann? Or like Mary Sue?
No. You can say, a lot of people call me Miss Monica.
Okay, that's easier for me.
But I want to thank you. One, some people call him Demo, and some people call him Diamo. If you know him, you probably call him D.
Okay.
But I know him because he's my brother, so I call him Diamo since he was a kid.
Yeah.
But I want to thank you for your show because I'm a journalist too.
Oh, really?
Yes, I'm a part owner of the Las Vegas Tribune, so I'm watching your show.
Oh, wow, that's dope. Okay, let's go. Okay.
Sorry about my messy home.
Oh, it's cool. You know, my office is kind of messy too.
So it gets weird.
Yeah. So real quick, I mean, just give us some insight on Diamo, and really just like kind of who he is, because we see him come in, and I remember him getting drafted. First of all, I watched his film at Oregon.
Okay.
And then he gets drafted, and he's like, I'm a hyena, right? And he's just kind of a different kind of cat. But what was that transition like for him? Without putting your brother on blast or anything, but I understand how getting to the NFL and like everything that you think it is when you're a kid, and like even going through college, then you get to the league, and it's like, this is even different, man. And it's such a business, and it can weigh on you. But how did he kind of handle that transition? How did he handle being under a much bigger microscope? Obviously, like you see, over 400 people consistently in here, and they're watching, and everyone has an opinion on how you're doing. Like how did he handle kind of that part of it?
To be honest with you, I think he loves it. So when you guys are out there, you're speaking about how they play, some players may take it as, you're downing them. But if you've ever been an athlete and you played sports, then some of the things that people say you can consider, right? Because that criticism may make you better.
Right.
And if you don't like it on either side, you just figure that you get out there and you still do your best.
Right.
But Diamo, actually, he was a good kid. He was a good kid. And he was always focused. So he's actually a focused individual. He might not be the loud guy in the crowd, but chances are his mind is there. His mind is 100% there. So he was a very good kid. I talked to him the other day, and it's funny that he said he likes constructive criticism.
Mm.
He said it makes him a better player. And I said, because your big sister, I'm on everybody.
Yeah, I told them, I said, hey,
it.
I didn't even know you were in the in here live, but I said you be under there, you be in the comments, and you're like, hey, Diamo, and I'm like, all right, let me make sure I say his name right.
But you can call him Demo too. But I mean, you guys also teach me the game, reteach me the game again when I listen to you. So I'm not confused about what's going on the field. So that's why I asked you that question.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Diamo's a good kid. Good kid. People always talk about a second contract and things like that, right? Which puts you on guard. But I know when my brother is there, because I know he's thinking to play because he was taught that. You know what I'm saying? He was taught to not compete, but to dominate. So hopefully every time he steps on that field, he's thinking that same thing. This is the game I love. This is the game I want to play. And I'm making something of my life. So he just got to keep going, But he's a very focused individual and very quick here.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Now, my last thing, and we'll end with this, but can we get him out of number 38? We got to get him a better number.
Number 38?
Oh, man, we got to get him out of 38.
What's wrong with the number 38?
38 is tight, in the sense of, he's always going to remember that, man, my first NFL team, my first number, I was number 38. I made it to the league. Man, this is a huge accomplishment.
Is that a
but
bad
now
number?
It's all right, we got to get him in the 20s. You know what I'm saying?
That's a bad number?
It's a little less, it's not ideal. I'll say that.
Okay. For his position?
Yeah, you probably want a 20s number. Now guys are wearing single digits, so maybe one of those. But let's say, and again, I don't wish anybody to lose their job, but let's say Hallman gets released by the 49ers. If you can get Diamo in number 24, that's a little bit more pleasing aesthetically.
8 plus, what is it? He 38. So even if you say bang, bang, 38, would he do something good? It's going to rhyme.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Really? I'm just saying. I don't know. I don't know about those numbers things. I have known him to wear 9, 23, and probably one more number.
Yeah, I know he wore 0 that last year at Oregon, but the last year I know he wore.
But I'll be honest with you. I was not around while he played college. He didn't know I used to watch him because I live in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So I used to have to watch him.
Yeah, you're the big sister.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I am. I'm that sister.
Yeah.
I'll keep working.
All right, Ms. Monica, I appreciate you coming on.
All right, have a fantastic day and congratulations on your broadcast.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. All All right, here we go. We got some good folks in here. And this is what we're going to do now, y'all. This is what we're going to do now. We're going to have some fun with it. And we're going to make this a round table. Now, when we make this a round table, I want everybody to be cool because I love this special guest we have coming on. And we know he can, you know what I'm saying? All right, okay, listen, we're just going to do it. We're just going to do it. All right. So, Terra Dome, good morning.
I knew it was me.
No, it's not just
How are
you. We
you,
got
young
Wolf
man?
in here.
Yo,
we got Gammon in here.
would it be?
We got the Ghost of Judah in here.
Yeah.
And we got Chris in here. All right, so, hey, listen, I'm going to sit back.
There we go.
Back. But listen, look, we got to be respectful of our guests from the Chicago Bears. And we have to give him the utmost respect. So whatever we got to let him get his take off. All right, we got to let him get his take off. And then I'm going to sit back and I'll let y'all respond. And we can have a civilized conversation. All right, so let's get it. Ghost of Judah, how you doing today? You good?
Hey, thank you, Eric, for inviting me onto your channel again. I appreciate that, dog. I appreciate that. To that one caller that came in with that weak Wi-Fi, like Trey Lance arm and accuracy, man, get out of here, man. You don't even know what the hell you talking about, bro. Be quiet, y'all lame, whiner, shame. So don't come on here and talk about that crap. And you don't know the history, and you don't even know the history of the Chicago Bears. So when a Chicago Bears fan come on here and you don't know the history of our team, hold on, wait a minute. Without the Chicago Bears, there is no San Francisco 49ers. Without Papa Bear Hallis, the NFL wouldn't be what it is because we made it happen, okay? We made it happen.
Thank you for the model.
We are the charter franchise of the NFL, okay? Y'all better recognize that. I don't care about some Niner empire. I don't care about that. We are the Chicago Bears. Anytime anybody mentions anything about the greatest team ever, you guys are never mentioned. It's always the Chicago Bears 85 team that's mentioned. So you show your respect, you show your reverence, and you show your gratitude toward the Chicago Bears.
Do you see that man on the
lame, whiner, shame. Y'all ain't doing jack. We gonna beat that. We gonna beat that butt week one. Y'all ain't gonna do a doggone thing come week one, man.
All right, hold on.
You just signed our garbage. You just signed our garbage.
Okay.
Which tells me that y'all don't have no safety help right now. Y'all trash. We gonna burn Travis Gibson. Darnell Mooney going for 200 on y'all.
Okay, hold on. I had to mute him. Hold on. I got to mute Terra Dome. Terra Dome, you got something going on with your audio too. I want to hear Chris respond first. So we got Roscoe's in here. Chris, respond. I'm gonna take everybody off mute, but I had to say hold on because you know what I'm saying y'all didn't hear me. But Chris, I want to hear your response first.
I actually watched the Bears versus Seahawks yesterday, and I mean it wasn't bad as what people were making it to be. I think the Bears have some good weapons and commit. I like Montgomery a lot. Herbert, I like him a lot. I like Mooney, and I actually like Velus Jones. He's going to really help them out in special teams and everything. But I mean, let's just be honest. I think this Mr. Bears fan is being delusional.
Mr. Bears fan,
because at the end of the day, I just don't see how he thinks Justin Fields is going to escape the pressure that the 49ers have for him. I mean, their only hope is to run the ball, but the last time we seen the 49ers defense out in the last 14 games, no team has ran for over 100 yards versus us. No running back has ran for under 100 yards versus us. We was only allowing 3.3 yards per carry. So I would love to know, like, how is he going to think that this Bears team is going to run the ball on them? Because once they try to run the ball on them, we stop that run, we're going to make them one-dimensional, and then that's going to open the floodgates for Justin Fields to get rushed. And then I think balls are going to be flying everywhere, and there's going to be at least 2 picks thrown. So I definitely want to hold on. I definitely want to know, like, where do you see in this offensive line being able to have success against our vaunted defensive line? I really like an honest question. None of the trolling that you do, none of those delusional takes.
Says it's trolling.
hold on. Tell me, what do you think your offensive line is? How is your offensive line going to have success against our defensive line?
No problem.
And hold on.
Play act. Hey, wait.
Hold on. Let me and how you gonna get the ball to the the two weapons y'all have in the pass game? So just talk.
They do got Mooney. Mooney is legit.
That's what I said.
They do have Cole Kmet. I really
Kmet.
like Cole Kmet, the tight end.
I said two. I said the two weapons that they have in the pass game. I said, which means Kmet and Mooney.
You're not world beaters. I don't know where you come out thinking that you some kind of world beater or something. Roll out, play action. Roll out, Bosa, over pursue, play action. That's how we're gonna beat y'all, man. And David Montgomery, hold on, wait a minute. You had your chance to talk. Now it's my chance to talk. David Montgomery, David Montgomery's gonna run roughshod over y'all, man.
He did give you a time.
Don't be scared. Don't be scared. David Montgomery's gonna run roughshod over y'all. You're not as good as you think you are, man. You're not that good. You're not as good as you think you are. And we're going to prove in week 1 when David Montgomery runs roughshod over y'all and Justin Fields is superior. Justin Fields is superior to Trey Lance. Trey Lance is a bum. You guys got lucky. The North Dakota University got lucky with Carson Wentz. You're not going to strike gold. You're not going to strike gold twice with another North Dakota State product. Not going to happen. We're going to prove his wobbly balls. He's struggling in practice. He throws wobbly balls, and he's not it. And you 49er fans are going to be chanting, "Come back, Jimmy! Come back, Jimmy! Come back, Jimmy!" That's exactly what's going to happen by halftime.
Okay, in order for the play action to work, right, you need to run the ball. And you said David Montgomery's going to run rush out over us. What evidence do you have that you're going to run the ball on us? Where's the evidence? I provided evidence of what we did the last time we were on the field. Again, the last 14 games, no running back or team ran for over 100 yards against us, averaging 3.3 yards per carry.
I don't care what those teams did. I don't care what those teams did. This is a whole new year, man. It's a whole new year. A whole new year, man. This is a whole new year. Week 1, anything is possible. You going off what you did in the past, all right? We talking about week 1. Your team ain't ready, period. Your team won't be ready. Trey Lance won't be ready because he's not ready to take the reins right now. You should have kept him out there as you started, and that's it. And he's gonna prove to be faithful to your team.
Okay, hold on.
That's my last question.
Hold on.
He's not ready.
Hold on.
He's not ready.
All right, real quick. Terradome, the floor is yours. Go ahead.
First and foremost, welcome, gentlemen. Glad to see everybody in the house. Croc, God gave me something today, just thinking about the Martin Luther King speech, about that part about the content of character and not the color of their skin. I'm just going to shout out you, Mike, Breezy, Jason Aponte, Grant Cohen, Peachy, Mose. Y'all are content creators. I want to relay that and echo that in the atmosphere because God spoke to me about what y'all are laying down right now, side by side. We're doing that, and it's marching out just how God wanted it to. And you got an anointing on your life. You're doing big things in the gym, and I'm proud for you, brother. I'm proud of you. And, I just want the best for you.
Thank you.
I wanted to talk about how extensive you think Mitchell's injury is, Elijah Mitchell, and how long do you think he's out? Because I hadn't seen him all preseason.
This is something that happened last season as well, right? Where Mitchell was banged up, and I think him figuring out a way to just stay healthy, stay on the field, that's going to be a battle in itself. He's a guy that, against the Chicago Bears ran extremely well last season, and you're going to need him, right? You're going to need him on the field week 1 to give you that, consistency and what you can get from him, the big playability. I don't have his stats against the Chicago Bears in front of me, but let's see. Elijah Mitchell stats.
It'll be cool if you don't utilize them, because I see a young man named Jordan Mason back there, and I got to tell you, I see shades of Terrell Davis
All right, hold on, real quick. So Elijah Mitchell against the Chicago Bears in the 49ers win, he had 18 carries for 137 yards, right? And, and a touchdown. He runs very well. And you'd like to have him. I think not having him would be a blow. I know everybody's excited about Jordan Mason, and and we'll see. But I really like just kind of having guys where I know a little bit more of what I'm gonna get, especially against top tier competition. And when I say that, I mean by like starters. And we know we can get that from Elijah Mitchell. But go ahead.
And you were dropping some jewels for Castro Fields. How much do you think he can change and become more aggressive and put forth more effort into jumping on some plays, sitting and maybe still jumping routes? Or do you think that's his game and that's what he is and that's ingrained and he can't change it?
I think when you are in the position that he's in now, where it's almost like you're kind of like, fighting to make a team, you can be a little bit more cautious, I guess, as opposed to somebody that is able to play with more confidence because like, okay, I'm here. I know I'm in a good spot. I'm going to just go out there, and now you're not really thinking. You're just making plays. So I think in his position, probably a little bit more scared to mess up is harder. It makes it a little bit more difficult to be maybe as aggressive as he would ideally like to be.
Okay, and lastly, I'll end with this because I know we got to get these fellas on. You were talking about how the Raiders is Raider Nation. You got the Cowboys, who's America's team. I love being a man of faith that we're called the faithful. And there's a passage in the Bible that says that we're all kind of familiar with. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things unseen. We haven't seen the collection of 49ers in this new 2022 season, but as true faithful, we know what the capacity and the greatness that is there. We know how far this thing can go if we just substitute out a couple of little pieces. I'll end on this. In 2 Corinthians, the 13th chapter, it says, examine yourselves whether you be in the faith and prove your own selves. And if you don't, you be counterfeit. If you're not part of the faithful and you can't see these things in your mind's eye and in your spirit, and you got problems and you think, well, maybe we need Jimmy G, or maybe this guy not going to do it, or maybe we ain't quite got it. The Bible calls that reprobate, and that means counterfeit. And you not quite there yet. So you just a San Francisco 49er fan. You not truly faithful.
All right, I hear you. I appreciate you coming on, Terradome.
Thank you.
I kind of want to jump on that. Terradome kind of bringing some of that gospel out there a little bit, and I know Ghost he had a nice little jingle, Niner 40 whiner, something like that. Well, after hearing Terradome kind of make that talk about that prayer, bring the church, I wanted to say something for the Bears. Bears, prepare your prayers. I hope Justin Fields brings multiple pairs of underwears. Like he's gonna be running for his life.
Bars.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Got to mix in a little bit of what that preach with a little bit of what we heard there. Bears, look, Ghost. I'm trying to be. I think really has been more supportive with you in the chat than I have, but look, your delusions have got to come to an end. But you have Justice Smith has nobody on the outside to throw to. Okay, even if Jimmy Ward isn't there, you have no outside game, and then that's going to feed right into the middle. You're talking about the teeth of the best linebackers in the field, and all of Justin Fields' throws that he was making have been short throws over the middle to his tight end. Now, I'm not going to put Hufanga out there in a nickel situation to line up against Cooper Kupp in the slot, but I will have him do that against a tight end. The other thing, too, is I'm looking at the defensive starting line. Bosa, Kinlaw, Armstead, Drake Jackson. It's just like it's just a little bit too much. I'm not going to really feed in too much into it because it's just at that point it's feeding a troll. Even if I've been saying this for a while, this offense is going to be clunky just from all the new coaching staff, everything else going on. This is really Trey Lance's first year starting. It's going to be a slow, rough go, but this defense is just going to keep these teams in it. Another thing that doesn't get brought up on other streamers or podcasts is how much of improvement this special teams has been. Did anybody else catch this, or was this just me? But it seemed like Wishnowski's punts, the accuracy on his punts were unbelievably accurate. Leaps and bounds above from where they were last year. So it kind of goes on to the last time I was on Croc Show and I was talking about how field position was going to be a huge proponent within a lot of these games coming up in this season. That third element that nobody talks about. Now I know that the Bears have a nice kick returner, but Wishnowski, you can definitely tell he put in the work for this. Now, before I hop off, I did want to talk about because Mike did bring up a good point, asking about, hey, why did we pick up Gibson? What's his role? What does this say about Ward? And I'll kind of go with this, right? So typically Dante Johnson would probably be our backup safety in that safety position, right? But he's dealing with fractured rib cartilage at this point. So fractured rib cartilage. So last week, this is going to last week. Here's a quote from Kyle Shanahan. Okay. Quote, "We probably have to add some more people there," Shanahan said, especially with Dante, because Dante's done a real good job also. He might be out this week too. This is in talking about relation to the Vikings game. With his rib cartilage. So we'll see how it goes with the roster. We might move our nickels around a bit just for some guys, but hopefully we'll get some more guys in here soon. All that to say, that was before the 85-man cut down roster. So the plan always was to bring in more safeties just for the fact of getting us through preseason. Just for the fact of getting us through.
Gotcha.
Preseason.
Okay. Yeah, definitely could see that.
Even Helix Native is not native to M1.
That's Papa Dragon.
Hey, what's up? Oh, my bad. I didn't know I was on.
Yeah, you're on. Let me get Wolf back in here as well.
What are you doing? You didn't tell me I was on.
Oh, my bad.
I could have been talking smack about your mama.
Oh, no.
Real quick, Wolf, you haven't had a chance to go, so, go ahead. I know you've been in here. You've been very patient.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning. I appreciate it, bro. It's too bad Ghost ran away. He's a little funny.
He tried to come back in, but there's only so much I can take, on one show. So it's like, all right, we'll get him back on tomorrow.
Yeah, I feel you. One of the things is, if Trey Lance's arm is so weak, why the hell are you in here? I think he's more scared than he's letting on. And I think that's the reason he's here. And I think that's the reason we're starting to see a lot more other NFL team fans come into all our 49er channels. Used to be like, 2 Rams fans, maybe 1. The Ramilia Report would come into all the 49ers channels. And I'm like, what are you doing, bro? Don't you have something better to do? Don't you have your own live stream? And then this whole narrative with the NFL commentators has been kind of switching over recently, where everybody was saying that Trey Lance was a huge question mark, and that's what might hold the 49ers back. But now I guess because of all your guys' coverage and everything, that's kind of changing, and they're having their own NFL scouts and whatever go check out the practices and stuff. So ever since that narrative's been changing in the NFL channel and all that stuff, it seems like more of those other fans are coming in. But I wanted to, because I know there was a Raiders fan in there too. I wanted to get your take on that game, because I have my own take. I don't know if you want to go first.
On what game? The Raiders versus 49ers?
Yes.
That game is so, we can talk more on the Bears versus 49ers. 49ers and Raiders, that's New Year's Day.
Yeah.
And it's just so far away. There's so much that can happen there. We'll know more about this team and where they're at. So I'll probably kind of reserve judgment on speaking on that game right now. I'd say in general, the Raiders are in a very good spot. They have a certain level of consistency from their quarterback Derek Carr. Obviously with the weapons that they have there, I think the three-headed monster is like one of the better ones in the league with Darren Waller at tight end. They got obviously Devontae Adams, and then their slot receiver from Clemson. Can't think of his name right now. Y'all know what I'm talking about, man. Their slot receiver. Hunter Renfro.
forgot.
There we go. Hunter Renfro. All right. Hunter Renfro, having him and what he's able to do. So I think just from that standpoint, they're going to be pretty solid on the offense. And then for them, it's going to be, how good is their defense? There's been some turnover at the cornerback position. I think they got Nate Hobbs starting at cornerback now. So we'll see how well they play on the back end. But overall, I think it's a team that has a solid amount of talent. And we'll see if Josh McDaniels can bring the most out of them.
Yeah, they're getting a lot of hype, but one of my favorite shots that I always take at Raider fans is that the last time we played you guys, we beat you guys with the third string quarterback. And you talk about they have solid quarterback play, but Nick Mullins was more solid in that game than Derek Carr was.
He was.
And I know Kyle Shanahan carried him a little bit, so he had an advantage. But they want to get overhyped about this whole Devontae Adams thing, and they think they're just going to wipe us out because of that. Well, take this into consideration. Jimmy Ward, hopefully he'll be able to be healthy and lock down Darren Waller. Then you got what was the matchup last year? The Packers versus Chiefs. Mooney, Charvarius Ward versus who?
Well, I'd say this about the Raiders, or just in general, like if you're worried about Devontae Adams and some of the weapons, like 49ers have faced teams with weapons, right? And they continue to do well. So, that part doesn't really matter to me. I think the 49ers schematically do a really good job as a coaching staff. It's just about, not making a bunch of mistakes, I guess, and having the young quarterback and being able to carry him through some of his down moments. Because we know the ups are going to be there, but there's also going to be some downs. So how long does that happen, and continuing to push through. But appreciate you coming on, Wolf.
All right, bro. Thank you. Take care.
All right. Here we go. Papa Dragon. And Gammon, I'm going to get you out of here too, man. I appreciate you coming on. All right, last one. Here we go. We got Papa Dragon on. How you doing, man? Good morning.
Hey, good morning, man. What's going on?
We probably got 2 minutes because I got to use the restroom, and I'm not sure how much longer I can hold it. So
yeah. I'll keep it brief. Anyway, look, I was at a dinner party yesterday with some buddies of mine, several of which are scouts and a couple of agents and people work for agencies. And just want to kind of just share to you a little bit about what the conversation was about. A couple of things that really stood out in a conversation that people were having was obviously Trey Lance was a big part of the discussion. He's apparently getting a lot of praise just for his Peyton Manningness, his smarts. But another person getting some praise is Brock Purdy, who Trey Lance helped absorb the playbook very quickly, which is notoriously a very big and difficult playbook to learn. Trey Lance actually learned that playbook in about 3 weeks in his rookie year. And Brock Purdy learned it in a couple of months. So the two players that people were talking about as far as possible waiver wire targets was Brock Purdy and Jason Poe. Another thing that came out was the fact that Trent Williams invited offensive linemen to train with him in Texas. All of them, and only two of them showed up. That was Burford and that was Poe. And right now, they seem to be having a point-per-point best performance so far in camp. Now, I'm not saying that any of this stuff is true. I'm just saying this is some of the things that were discussed. So, that being said, the question is, if Brock Purdy gets cut, I believe the likelihood that somebody else will pick him up and put him on their 53-man roster, especially in a league that's deficient of quarterbacks and offensive linemen, is pretty fair. It's pretty good. He's proven to be better than advertised. and really has got good poise and good pocket presence. I'm not saying that he's starter material, but he's definitely good for your quarterback room. And any team out there looking to improve the quarterback room will definitely make that consideration. And one team, for example, is the Seahawks, who have pillaged us for almost 10 years now. So whenever we let somebody go, they wind up going out there and they wind up playing pretty well and having a pretty good career in most of the cases. So that was a couple things we talked about. Another thing that came up was the effect that Nick Bosa had on the defensive side of the ball.
Hold on, Papa Dragon. We're going to have to save some of this for tomorrow because I'm not going to be able to hold it too much longer. I got to use the bathroom.
Am I at 2 minutes already? Okay.
Yeah.
It's all good. Well, cry.
All right. We're going to be back tomorrow live, though. We're going to be back tomorrow.
Don't let me hold you up. Okay, I'll try to make it.
All right. Appreciate it.
All right, man.
All right. Dang, I hate that I had to cut them off. Real quick, couple of super chats I didn't get to just yet. What a morning. Pulling out the fish sticks. We got Terror Dome here. Hey, you guys think we trade Sermon to New York so he can get his tap dance on Broadway? Oh, man. I would like to see him get a little bit more rush lanes, man. I don't think they really gave him a true opportunity to really succeed in the preseason game, man. Give him a little bit more run lanes. I think we can get a little bit more out of Trey Sermon. All right. I think he ran decent in the first preseason game. Man, you have created a great space when players, family members feel comfortable enough to call in. Salute, man. You know what I'm saying? This is the show for the people. And, again, I think for the most part, we have some really good, knowledgeable fans that come on here. And, I appreciate everyone's takes. And I appreciate, other fans coming on here and talking, even if it differs from my opinion, all right? Even if it differs. Appreciate the contributions from y'all, all right? But that's going to do it for this episode of the San Francisco 49ers Morning Show. We're going to be right back here tomorrow. Hopefully I have a guest. I think I got a guest coming on with y'all. And eventually, man, we got to get some players on here. But all right. But hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you listen to Locked On 49ers. Underdog Fantasy, promo code Crocky. Download the app or go to underdogfantasy.com right now if you're into player wagering, over-unders, player props, fantasy football, basketball, baseball, all that good stuff. That's Underdog Fantasy. Download the app right now and use promo code Crocky. All right, but I'll see y'all. See y'all tomorrow morning. Different time, though. 8:30. All right, we'll be back at 8:30. Had to drop the daughter off this morning at school, and, it took a little while. First day of first grade. All right, but anyways, appreciate all y'all, man. Love y'all. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.
Intercepted. It is picked off by Eric Roger. Over midfield, he'll run it all the way into the end zone. Touchdown.
Cross Talk TV podcast. Peace.